Good evening, everybody. We are back in the tier list maker for an update in 2023 on some of the world's airlines, which I'm going to be ranking today. Welcome back, it's Gabriel Grant. Now, I want to preface this by saying I've had some very good experiences that have changed some of these rankings in the past year, so what you see today might be a little different than what you saw last year. First airline we're going to look at is Air Canada. We're only going to put them in decent because Air Canada is a decent airline, which has some flaws, such as the lack of, working entertainment. Those A320s, CRJs, older planes don't have good entertainment systems. Very dense 777s. The service is very good, but that doesn't make up for, excessive seat charges and checked luggage fees. Air China, I haven't heard particularly good things about. I'm just going to go ahead and put them in mediocre. Air France. I'm moving them up one step from good because when I flew the Airbus 350 a couple of months ago from Boston to Paris Charles de Gaulle, I found it absolutely an excellent experience. It wasn't quite, perfect. There were a few things that could be improved, but the overall experience, to me, at least in my opinion, from being on the Airbus 350 and some of those new aircraft that they have, as well as the refurbished 777s, was really quite solid. I think there's just a few things again that could be improved, such as maybe having the seats recline a little less in economy class and improving the legroom domestically within France, although I've heard that some domestic flights in France are being banned, which is good. But again, I still think that Air France, they're not quite in that world class category that you're gonna see where the airlines that are in world class, you're gonna see kind of a common theme running throughout them of uniqueness and sort of not just uniqueness, but sort of pride in customer service. I think Air France has it on board, but I think as soon as you step into the airport, Charles de Gaulle is horrendous, and everything except for the flight experience itself does leave a little bit to be desired. So, you average all that out, you get very good. Alaska Airlines, I'm very sorry, Alaska fans, but I have to give it a subpar. The fact that we have audacity to not install in-flight entertainment screens on your new 737s, and those 737s, said aircraft, are flying 6-hour transcon flights. What the hell are you doing, Air Alaska? I don't know why you wouldn't put those IFE screens on board when you're flying transcon. That doesn't make any sense. It's not even intuitive. What would you want passengers to do? Twiddle their thumbs for 6 hours? Yeah, okay, streaming entertainment. What about the kids? They don't have iPads. They want to watch a movie. Mama doesn't have 10 iPads for her 10 children. It doesn't work that way. It's not like thinking about the customer, thinking about the cost-cutting effectiveness of not needing to install those screens, but then you need to think about it, you're like, oh wait, what do customers prefer? It's a little bit more expensive in the short term, but in the long term, it benefits the customers. And so I think that's kind of where I take issue with that, and it's just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. ANA is a good airline. I've heard some lately not so great things about the room. In fact, I've heard some disappointing reviews, so I have to drop them down. Same with Cathay Pacific, actually. Cathay Pacific has had some really bad reviews and really bad ratings lately, and I think I have to put them at mediocre for that just because of that. I'm going to get to British Airways in just a second. I'm going to put China Eastern again with mediocre. I've heard that they're okay, but that they kind of copycat other Middle Eastern airlines and try to be whatever they're not, and it doesn't really work, and things go haywire all the time. Ethiopian is a good airline, but again, some of those seats are really old and dirty, and I don't want to fly in a dirty seat. I don't think any of you do either. Japan Airlines is good. It's like Ethiopian, they've got kind of a mixed bag of experience. Yes, some of the free amenities you get and some of the legroom is good, but then like a whole ground experience in Narita and then transiting Japan, I've heard is a complete shit show, and I just don't even want to deal with it. So, and that goes the same thing for Jetstar. Jetstar, I think actually I'm gonna have to put a rather walk just because of such horrible reviews I've heard of them flying domestically with Australia. I know they're Australian airline, but to be honest with you, I just don't want to have to deal with them anymore. Turkish is a very good airline. However, the problem with Turkish that prevents them from getting world class is Istanbul's new airport. It's too big. Tone it down. It's too big. Too much fleet. Too much 777 and A330. Older planes flying long routes, and Istanbul's new airport. Even if the seats themselves, the service, the entertainment, everything else is really quite good. Also, get rid of the old business seats in the 777. They've got to go. Ryanair, I'd rather walk. It's pretty darn obvious. Thai Airways is decent. I've heard some good reviews about their new Royal Silk class, but I've also heard some reviews that they can be a little condescending about criticism and feedback, which I don't really appreciate. I think that, airlines companies should definitely be appreciative of feedback that you give to them, and I think it's kind of important to recognize that airlines go through a transition that's very important to, acknowledge. And that's kind of just my take on it. Qantas, very good airline. I've heard some great things about their new business class. Project Sunrise is going to be amazing once it starts. 20-hour flights, they can obviously pull it off. They know how to do it. They're the queen of long haul travel. I don't even know them. They don't exist to me. Malaysia Airlines doesn't take criticism. I mean, if you've seen Josh Cahill's reviews about how they bullied him, I mean, I'm not willing to fly them anytime soon. In fact, actually, I'd rather walk, given that I'm not looking to be tortured for 14 hours from Kuala Lumpur to London. Hainan Airlines is kind of the same thing. They just don't take criticism. Even if the service is good, if you don't take criticism, I'm not willing to risk, criticizing them in a video or something like that. Just don't want to get banned from flying or anything like that. I just don't want that to be part of my livelihood, and I don't want that to cause problems in the future. It's kind of where I draw the line is it am I going to be respected as a passenger and a customer? And if I'm not, I don't want to fly them. It's just how it is. Um, U.S. Airways don't exist, so I'd rather walk for sure. Virgin Atlantic, good. Some of those older planes have terrible legroom, though. 6, 7 hour flights transatlantic. I just don't want that. I don't want 29 inches of pitch. I want at least 30 to 31, if not 32 inches of pitch. Just so my knees have extra space. I'm not the tallest of people. I'm not the pickiest of people either. But I just want my plane to be at least somewhat new and comfortable. Let's going to move on to British Airways. British Airways. Okay. I do want to preface this by saying that their new club suites are great. 150 British pounds to pick your seat in business class on a paid ticket. No. I don't care if the service, the seats, the comfort, the entertainment, the lounges are world class. The split second you charging me for seat selection in anything besides economy, you are throwing yourself down in the rankings by at least 2 margins, and I think in this case it's going to have to be 3. United actually, this is going to surprise a lot of you because I had them in terrible reviews last year. I had some really great flights with United this past year on the new 737 MAX aircraft, the new CRJ 550 aircraft. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful to see them transform themselves, and I also see, reviews of Polaris Business Class, Premium Plus I've got to experience myself, and I think all of their newer cabins, newer seats, and everything that they're going in the right direction to become the best in the United States. I don't think they're going to top that Delta because I think Delta's just Innovation City, but I think United is a very good airline that, you might want to consider more than you used to consider. American is mediocre. First of all, I flew them from Dallas to Boston, and it was nightmare. $30 for in-flight Wi-Fi on a 3-hour flight? No, it's $10 an hour. That's how much people make in this country. No, we're not doing that. Ripping out IFE screens for Project Oasis and all. I don't see that as a positive, and they have the chutzpah to spin it as a positive for customers, like people get more choice to bring their entertainment if they want. No, no, heck no. Southwest gets good for me. And this is up from last year. I appreciated the on-time, efficient service. I appreciated the comfort. I appreciated the humor. One of the flight attendants even, did some sing for us during a little bit of a delay. I think that they're service-oriented. I think they're focused on the customer. The lack of fees, the free check bags. The boarding process is a bit unorthodox. You gotta arrive early. You gotta check in early, get yourself a good boarding position. But if you do that and you get yourself a good seat, you're set up for a good flight. I don't care there's no entertainment screens because they don't really fly all that long of a flight anyway, 2 to 3 hours, maybe even 4. You can use their Wi-Fi, which unlike American is reasonably priced, only $8, just like United. Aero Mexico, these I'm just gonna put decent because I haven't heard a whole lot of things about them. I've heard that they're like okay, but when I look at reviews and look at ratings, I'm like kind of getting feelings about them. Spirit subpar, although they're getting better since they did get bought by JetBlue and they're starting to offer Wi-Fi. That might be something to look out for in the near future for them to rise up the rankings. Qatar Airways, the world's best airline 2023. Singapore Airlines runner-up, world-class airlines. I mean, they offer some of the best products in the world in first, business, and economy class, and they're consistently winning awards for fantastic service. Lufthansa is a very good airline. until you add the seat selection and checked baggage charges, which brings them down to good. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to criticize them anymore because I think that everything else besides those two things are positive. I think the planes, yeah, they're a little older, but they refurbished them nicely, so that's good. KLM has that Dutch charm, which I love. And I think that when I flew KLM from Amsterdam to Boston, I've tasted Netherlands. The experience was Dutch. And I think Air France lacks a uniquely French experience, whereas I think KLM nails that. But I also feel as though KLM has that one, they're on the same level as Air France because they're a part of the same parent company, of course. But I also feel like KLM is just a little bit, not quite Air France in terms of the service long haul. I think it's a little bit more inconsistent. But that Dutch, hospitality brings them right up, just neck and neck there. Korean Air, the Apex suite again, the business class, it's okay, but again, economy, long haul flights. The planes are old, outdated, needs a refresher. And an airline needs an identity. And this is where I'm going to come to the last few. And these airlines have identities. Etihad with the Residents, very good airline. JetBlue, I'm sorry to say, has dropped a ranking. I've had delays. I've had changes in schedule. And their E190s are just way too long in the tooth. I don't see any replacement anytime soon. A220 was supposed to replace. It hasn't. They're going down a ranking to very good. They're still a very good airline, don't get me wrong. And the Mint, and actually, Mint to Europe, I think is one of the best options to go to Europe. But I don't think world class just yet, because I think they need to get rid of some of those old planes. Once we get fully an Airbus fleet, once we get the entirety of new cabins, and we have those Mint services to Europe nailed down to the T, we're going to go back up to our world-class status. But for now, definitely not. Frontier's mediocre, yeah, they're funny and all, but the low-cost airline has no seat, no legroom. Frontier and EasyJet are about the same thing. Emirates, very good. I'm not putting world-class for Emirates. I had one bad experience where I was verbally abused by the cabin crew, and I know everything else is great, but that kind of that sours the experience a little bit for you, and it makes you feel unwelcome in the future. And my favorite airline, and I'm going to be completely honest when I say that I'm fully biased about this, one of my favorite and best experiences have been on Delta. It is consistent. It is customer oriented. It is friendly. The Southern hospitality is what they want to be. And they are North America's luxury airline, regardless of what people say that all the US Big Three are horrible. I completely disagree. I think United is moving up towards Delta's threshold, but I think Delta has remained consistently strong. They are the strongest competitor right now in this continent, and I think that they're going to continue being that way for time and time again. Every single experience I fly with Delta, every time it is a wonderful privilege to fly them. And actually, people who fly them all the time, I'm very jealous of them. Because honestly, the cabins, the comfort, the refurbishments, but more than that, the people. It's the people that really make a company shine. And I think Delta has some of the best employees working for them. And I think that Delta One is great, Premium Select is great, all of their cabin classes are great. But again, as I said before, and I'm going to keep repeating, it's about the people, it's about the attitudes, it's about the service, it's about the being customer focused. And I think you have a trend in the three world-class airlines for 2023 for me. It's Qatar Airways, Singapore Airlines, and Delta are customer oriented. They care more about the customers and they make a big profit doing so. I hope you understand why I give the airlines rankings like this. And if you have a disagreement, a comment, a concern, a question for me, just feel free to put it down in the comment section below. That's always available as an option for you. I hope you enjoyed, my reactions and my honest thoughts. And I'll see you next week for actually a weather forecast, an update to my weather forecast. Keep an eye out for that. Have a nice evening, like the video, comment, be sure to subscribe if you like my content, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.